Dear students, we have already completed Unit 1 of the topic on examinations by Winston S. Churchill. Before going to Unit 2, let's recall some outlines of Unit 1. The writer did not like the word examination. As you know, he had used the word inhospitable regions of examinations. Secondly, he has used the term that is a great trial. Examinations were a great trial to me. When he entered Haru, he had to pass the entrance examinations. He expected questions from history, poetry and writing essays, but he found questions from Latin and mathematics. Moreover, the questions were very difficult, so he was unable to write anything. He wrote the question number 1 and he was unable to present anything. He was unable to give the answers to that questions. So he sat there. Then the examination time was over. The assurer came and collected his answer sheet. Dr. Weldon, the headmaster of the school, was a broad-minded fellow. He saw the answer sheet. When the writer was sitting up, when he became nervous, drops of tear fell on the answer sheet and it made some blot and smudges. Dr. Weldon saw the blots and smudges and he realized the mentality, the psychology of the little boy. He was a person who did not believe in paper manifestations and he allowed the writer to study there. So the writer says, I have always had the greatest regard for him. Then the names of the new students were written according to alphabetical order. The writer's name started from Spencer S, which did not give him any advantage. Rather, he found his name only 2 from the last. Then these 2 boys left the school due to their illness or some other reason. So the writer Churchill became the last boy. The system of calling the rules at Eton, another school, was something different from that of Harrow. At Eton, he says, at Eton, the boys stand in a cluster and lift their heads when their names are called. But at Harrow, they file past a master in the schoolyard and answer one by one. As Churchill was the last boy in the class, the visitors to that school could easily know his position, that he was the last boy in the class. He was the son of Lord Randolph Churchill. Lord Randolph Churchill was an eminent political figure. He was the leader of the House of Commons and Chancellor of the Exchequer. He had by the time resigned from his post, that is position, that is the leader of the House of Commons and Chancellor of the Exchequer. Still, he was a towering figure in politics. So people were interested to know Churchill's position. Sir Winston Churchill, that is Winston Churchill, the boy, our protagonist, they were very interested to know his position. When they found the boy at the end of the serial, at the end of the list, they could not believe themselves. Some of them commented, "Oh, he was the last boy." Then come to Unit 2. In this unit, we find the role of a teacher in students' life. Generally, you see these days, the students and the teachers, the relationship between them is not so close like that of your ancient age, or you find the stories in the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the ancient stories, mythological stories. You find there was a sort of a close relationship. That is, ଆମେ ତାକୁ କହିପାରିବା ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ଗୁରୁ ଶିଷ୍ୟର ଯେ ପରମ୍ପରା, ଗୁରୁ ଶିଷ୍ୟର ଯେ ଏକ ପ୍ରକାରର ନିବିଡ଼ତା, ହୁଏତ ଆଜିକାଲି ସେଇଭଳିଆ ନିବିଡ଼ତା ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି କିଛି ସ୍ଥାନରେ ଅନୁମାନ କରାଯାଏ. But the writer says the role of a teacher is very important. He can shape the student, he can guide the student, he can mold him, he can mold the student. So here we see that the writer presents us his experience, how he was guided by his teacher, English teacher. Let's see. Unit 2. If you have books, open page 60. The writer says, I continued in this unpretentious situation for nearly a year. However, by being so long in the lowest form, I gained an immense advantage over the cleverer boys. They all went on to learn Latin and Greek and splendid things like that. But I was taught English. We were considered such dunces that we could learn only English. I continued in this unpretentious situation for nearly a year. In this modest situation, he was new to that school. He was not at all a brilliant student, a very good student, a good scholar. However, he continued his study there. By being so long in the lowest form, I gained an immense advantage, great advantage. He was placed in the lowest form in the school. So he says that he got great advantage, immense advantage over the cleverer boys. How was it possible? Cleverer boys, and the writer was a dunce, stupid one. But he says that he could gain something over the cleverer boys. Se कहउछन्ति जे मु मांदा पिला थिले किंतु जे माने चतुर बुद्धिमान स्कॉलर जे माने ताको ठारो मु किछि एडवांटेज रे रहिली, किछि भलो भलो स्तर रे रहिली. व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड इट? ता पछर कोन कारण आमे देखिबा. They all went on to learn Latin and Greek. The cleverer students, the cleverer boys, they went to learn Latin and Greek and splendid things like that. But I was taught English. The writer was not a clever one. There were some boys like him and they were taught English. They were considered such dunces. Dunces means a slow learner. Dunce. D-U-N-C-E. Dunce. Slow learner. They were called the dunces. तमने टिके मंदा एते क्षिप्र तीक्ष्ण बुद्धि संपन्न नोंती बोली विवेचना करागला. The school considered them to be dunces. So they were taught simply English. The clever students, the talented students, they were taught Latin and Greek. We were considered such dunces that we could learn only English. Mr. Somerville, a most delightful man. Mr. Somerville, here you see the name of Mr. Somerville, Somervell. I told you a little while ago, I told you the role of a teacher is very important for shaping the career of a student. The role of a teacher is very important. तमे पाठ कथा गोटे भी नहीं पार किंबा ताकू चरित्र गठन पाई भी नहीं पार उभय जिनस पाठरे चरित्र गठन रे उभय रे आमे कहि परिबानी जे सब पिलांकर टैलेंट समान. So here we see that the writer was considered, the writer and some other boys were considered to be dunces. Still, Mr. Somerville, who was their English teacher, he was a most delightful man to whom my debt is great. The writer says that he is indebted to Mr. Somerville. Indebted, Runi. Taka pakar se Runi. He pays his greatest regard to Mr. Somerville. My debt is great, was charged with the duty of teaching the stupidest boys, stupidest. माने जे पिला मानकर भलो पाठ टिके हो नाही तांको आमे स्टूपिड बोली कहू तार आसेला आमे कहउछंती पॉजिटिव फॉर्म तापर जिम तुमे कहउछ मच मोर मोस्ट गुड बेटर बेस्ट सेमिदिया तमर कंपैरेटिव फॉर्म तापर सुपरलेटिव फॉर्म रहउछे सेमिदिया तमर कहउछ स्टूपिड स्टूपिडर स्टूपिडेस्ट बॉयज ऑफ द क्लास and the most disregarded thing means English is a disregarded topic subject in Harrow School रे ताको से कहउची Greek Latin subjects were given great importance but English it was not given any importance. That's why the writer says a disregarded thing, namely to write mere English. But Mr. Somerville knew how to do it. He knew how to create an interest in the minds of the boys, a curiosity, an interest to learn English, to read English, to write English. विषय जेते खराब ही थाओ जेते माने सहजिया ही थाओ बा जेते कष्टिया ही थाओ शिक्षकर काम होची इट इज द रूल ऑफ ए टीचर टू क्रिएट एन इंटरेस्ट इन द स्टूडेंट्स इन द माइंड ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स बॉयज गर्ल्स ताका भीतर गोटे आग्रह सृष्टि करिबा किमितिका से विषय प्रति आग्रहान्वित हेबे. सो हियर वी सी दैट मिस्टर समरवेल he was charged with the duty of teaching the stupidest boys the most disregarded thing, namely to write mere English. He knew how to do it. He taught it as no one else has ever taught it. He taught it, the writer says, mark the word, he taught it as no one else has ever taught it. Means his teaching style was something very interesting, something very unique style of teaching. एक स्वतंत्र भाव रे अनन्य भाव रे तांकर पढ़ेबार शैली थिला ताको हमहु टिके द राइटर वांट्स टू गिव अस सम आइडिया हाउ मिस्टर समरवेल taught English, the disregarded thing that is English. He taught as no one else has ever taught it. Not only did we learn English parsing thoroughly, but we also practiced continually English analysis. We learn English parsing गोटे नुआ शब्द तुम पाच पार्सिंग ये पार्सिंग हूँ ग्रामाटिकल एनालिसिस प्रत्येक गोटे वाक्यर प्रत्येक वर्ड तार पोजिशन कौन वेदर इट इज सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट प्रेडिकेट प्रीपोजिशन आर्टिकल वर्ब एडजेक्टिव एडवर्ब कंजक्शन प्रीपोजिशन कौन से वाक्यटे कौन सब लगी सब बुझेबा बार बार ताको प्रैक्टिस करेबा से कहते इंग्लिश पार्सिंग थरोली बट वी आल्सो प्रैक्टिस कंटिन्यूअली इंग्लिश एनालिसिस Mr. Somerville had a system of his own. Each teacher has a system of his own. प्रत्येक शिक्षकଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ଥାଏ ତାଙ୍କର ନିଜସ୍ୱ ଗୋଟେ ଶୈଳୀ ଥାଏ. How to create an interest, how to teach a topic. So here we see Mr. Somerville had a system of his own. He took a fairly long sentence and broke it up into its components by means of a block. He took a long sentence. Then suppose I want to give you an example. I go to college every day. It is not a long sentence, but let's see. I, subject, go, main verb, to, preposition, college, noun, to college, every day, that is adjunct, adverb, every day. So here we see subject, verb in present, simple form, I, that is subject, singular, first person singular, all these things. When you discuss it, when you analyze it, that is known as parsing. So we see that he took a fairly long sentence and broke it off into its components by means of black, red, blue and green inks. Here you see black ink, here you see green ink, blue ink, red ink, something like that. That means he wants to separate the words from other parts of the sentence. ଏଟାକୁ ଗ୍ରୀନ୍ କାଳିରେ ତାକୁ ଅଣ୍ଡରଲାଇନ୍ କରିବା, ତାକୁ ଏଟାକୁ ବ୍ଲାକ୍ କାଳିରେ ଅଣ୍ଡରଲାଇନ୍ କରିବା, ଏଟାକୁ ରେଡ୍ରେ ଅଣ୍ଡରଲାଇନ୍ କରିବା, ତାକୁ ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା କରନ୍ତି. And he asked the students to identify the parts. So he took a fairly long sentence and broke it off into its components by means of black, red, blue and green inks. Subject, verb, object, relative clause, conditional clauses, conditional clauses, conjunctive and disjunctive clauses. Each had its color and its bracket. It's a color and a bracket. It's a color and a bracket. Imagine this type of thing. You find a long sentence and the teacher Somerville breaks the sentence into different parts by means of underline and bracket, underline, bracket, underline, bracket. So it was easy for the students, the boys, the dunces, the slow learners to study the topic. ପିଲାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଗୋଟେ ଆଗ୍ରହ ସୃଷ୍ଟି ଆସୁଥିଲା, ତାକୁ ବିଭିନ୍ନ କାଳିରେ ରଙ୍ଗୀନ କରାଯାଇଥିବ, ତାକୁ ବ୍ରେକେଟ୍ କରାଯାଇଥିବ, ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ପଚରାଯାଉଥିବ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦ ପୋଜିସନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଆଇ, ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦ ପୋଜିସନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଟୁ, ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦ ପୋଜିସନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଗୁ, କ୍ୟାନ୍ ୟୁ ଇଣ୍ଡିକେଟ୍ ଦି ୱାର୍ଡ଼ ଗୁ, ଏ ଗୁଟାକୁ କ'ଣ କୁହାଯିବ, ଏହାର କ'ଣ, ୟାକୁ କ'ଣ କୁହାଯାଉଛି, ଆଇଟା କ'ଣ, ସବଜେକ୍ଟ କ'ଣ, ଭର୍ବ କ'ଣ, ଦିସ୍ ଟାଇପ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଥିଙ୍ଗ. As I remained, each had its color and a bracket. It was a kind of a drill. Means practice. The boys practiced these type of sentences every day. We did it almost daily, every day. As I remained in the third, fourth, 3 times as long as anyone else, I had 3 times as much of it. The writer remained 3 times in the third, fourth, 3 times. Perhaps it indicates that he did not do well, so he had to stay in third, fourth for 3 years. 3 ବର୍ଷ ରହିଛନ୍ତି ବୋଲି ଯାହା ଆଶା କରାଯାଉଛି, ତାଙ୍କର ପାଠ ହୁଏତ ଭଲ ହେଇନଥିବ ବା କୌଣସି କାରଣ ଥିବ. ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି କ'ଣ, I remained in the third, fourth 3 times as long as anyone else, I had 3 times as much of it. I learned it. I learned it. It means parsing thoroughly. The grammatical analysis of a sentence thoroughly. Thus I got into my bones. Get into bones. Get into bones. Get into bones. ମାନେ ଅସ୍ଥି ମଜ୍ଜା ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ମାନେ ଅତ୍ୟଧିକ କୌଣସି ଜିନିଷକୁ ଯଦି ତୁମେ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସ୍ କରିବ ଲେଖା ଲେଖି କରିବ କୌଣସି ନୋଟ୍ ହେଇପାରେ କୌଣସି ସାଇନ୍ସ ହେଇପାରେ ଆର୍ଟ୍ସ ହେଇପାରେ କମର୍ସ ହେଇପାରେ ଯେ ପିଲା ହଉ ନା କାହିଁକି ବା ଯେକୌଣସି ଇଞ୍ଜିନିୟରିଂ ପାଠ ହେଇପାରେ ମେଡ଼ିକାଲ ପାଠ ହେଇପାରେ ଯେ ଯାହା ପଢ଼ୁଛି if you practice it every day regularly and you can remember all the rules all the topic the theme the summary of everything. So he says I got into my bones the essential structure of the ordinary British sentence. The structure of a British sentence, ordinary British sentence. Structure. When you write a sentence in English, you need a structure. ଏଇଠି ଧର ଦେଖ ଆମେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି କ'ଣ structure ନା subject MB present. That is the structure. To college complement. This is everyday adverb. ये सब लागिक आम वाक्य तो आम कहते स्ट्रक्चर ग्रामेटिकल स्ट्रक्चर वाक्य तैयारी आई वेंट टू कॉलेज एस्टरडे इटा हूँ पास्ट रहा वेंट थी पास्ट दैट इज सब्जेक्ट प्लस एमवी इन पास्ट फॉर्म से भाई आम कहते स्ट्रक्चर ब्रिटिश स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द ऑर्डिनरी ब्रिटिश सेंटेंस व्हिच इज ए नोबल थिंग एंड व्हेन इन आफ्टर इयर्स माय स्कूल फेलोज दोज हु वेंट टू लर्न ग्रीक एंड लैटिन दे केम बैक school fellows who had won prizes and distinction for writing such beautiful Latin poetry. They had mastered Latin and Greek and they wrote beautiful Latin poetry and pithy Greek epigrams. Pithy means brief, short, witty passage. Witty, very संक्षिप्त कौन तीक्ष्ण लेखा थिबा कौन बुद्धिया कथा थिबा एक पैराग्राफ से लिखि पारुथुले आ तुमर लैटिन पोएट्री लिखि पारुथुले काहे कि ना दे मास्टर्ड लैटिन एंड ग्रीक बट दे हैड टू कम डाउन अगेन टू कॉमन इंग्लिश दे हैड मास्टर्ड लैटिन एंड ग्रीक बट दे वर वेरी पुअर इन ऑर्डिनरी इंग्लिश डिसरिगार्डेड थिंग इंग्लिश जाको से कहउतले डिसरिगार्डेड थिंग It is a question common English. They had to come down again to common English to earn their living and make their way. Is a word like each of the earn their living, make their way. ए दुईटा जिनस को लक्ष्य कर. The writer is a native of England. He says, you must master your own language, native language, because that native language helps you to earn your living and make your way. Suppose, take the example of our state Odisha, our native language. तुम्हें कही पार ओडिशा हूँ ओडिया बेंगल बेंगली तमिलनाडु भाषा तमिल हिंदी भाषा कौटी कौटी राजस्थानी कौ भाषा थी गुजराती भाषा रोचे ये विभिन्न भाषा यू हैव टू मास्टर योर ओन लैंग्वेज फास्ट देन यू मे लर्न अदर लैंग्वेजेस कहीं पाए बर्तमान तो समस्ते कहते आम इंग्राजी जाना आम इंग्राजी मास्टर हासिल करवा ठीक अच्छे there is no problem but first of all you must master your own language निज भाषा को अगर तुम्हें मातृभाषा ताको अगर तुम्हें हासिल कर तो से कथर को चर्चिल कहते earn their living make their way इंग्राजी निहाती शिखिबार अच्छी कहीं they may learn Latin they may learn Greek किसी असुविधा नहीं but they must learn English कहीं ना टू अर्न देयर लिविंग मेक देयर वे दैनंदिन जीवन में बंचिबा पाई जीविका निर्वाह करिबा पाई यू मस्ट learn English. देखो बोई देखो ये लाइन टा गोटे मार्क करो. They had to come down again to common English to earn their living or make their way. I did not feel myself at any disadvantage. The writer says that I did not face any disadvantage for not learning Greek and Latin. से कहते लाटिन ग्रीक मुझे शिखी नी कि मोर कौन डिसएडवांटेज नाला. आई डिड नॉट फेस एनी प्रोब्लेम. मुझे भाषा इंग्लैंड लाटिन ग्रीक से विदेशी भाषा जमी आम कहते इंग्राजी आम विदेशी भाषा जे इंग्राजी टिके जान हिंदी टिके जान ताकू तुम मास्टरी हासिल कर. लेखक से कथा कहते ठीक अच्छे किसी असुविधा ना कि प्रथम जान तुम निज भाषा. से कहते इन हिज ओपिनियन ही सेज आई डिड नॉट फील माई सेल्फ एट एनी डिसएडवांटेज फॉर नॉट मास्टरिंग लाटिन एंड ग्रीक. लाटिन ग्रीक न जाणी मोर किसी असुविधा है नहीं बर इंग्राजी जानी मोर बहुत लाभ होती से कहना चाहते. नेचुराली आई एम बायस्ड इन फेवर ऑफ बॉयज लर्निंग इंग्लिश. बायस्ड लेखक टिके इंग्राजी सपक्षवादी हो जाती. से कहते इंग्राजी सपक्ष मत देवी. आई एम बायस्ड आई एम इन फेवर ऑफ बॉयज लर्निंग इंग्लिश. आई वुड मेक देम ऑल लर्न इंग्लिश एंड देन आई वुड लेट द क्लेवर बॉयज क्लेवर वंस लर्न लाटिन एज एन ऑनर एंड ग्रीक एज ए ट्रीट. जार इंग्राजी हो गला खूब भल हो गला से जाऊ शिखु. कौन शिखिबो? He may learn Latin, he may learn Greek, he may learn Latin as an honor. गोटे सम्मान विषय गोटे अधिक विषय अधिक गोटे भाषा अन्य भाषा गोटे सम्मान हिसाब से ग्रीक शिखिपे. गोटे ट्रिट गोटे गिफ्ट गोटे रिवार्ड गोटे प्लेजर पाई से ग्रीक शिखिपे. किंतु निज भाषा न शिखी ओडिया न शिखी तुम्हें हिंदी इंग्लिश शिखा जहाँ ये आमर लेखक से कथा कहते इंग्राजी न शिखी लाटिन ग्रीक शिखा से. नो यू मस्ट लर्न इंग्लिश देन यू मे लर्न लाटिन एज एन ऑनर ग्रीक एज ए ट्रीट. बट द ओनली थिंग आई वुड व्हिप देम आई वुड डिसिप्लिन देम आई वुड पनिश देम फॉर वुड बी फॉर नॉट नोइंग इंग्लिश. इमेजिन सच ए सिचुएशन किमिति से कहते इंग्राजी न जानिबो जे मु ताकू कड़ा शास्ति देवाई पछेबी ना श्रृंखलित करने पछेबी ना. यू मस्ट लर्न इंग्लिश. आई वुड व्हिप देम हार्ड फॉर दैट. आई वुड गिव पनिशमेंट फॉर नॉट नो इंग्लिश. माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, we have already completed Unit 2. Thank you.